What's up, guys? Different video today. I'm not going to do any, not clickbait introduction or anything. This is just going to be raw way. This is going to be me talking about Shaco in Season 15. If you don't know who I am an ex-challenger Shaco player. Wow, that hurts. At the moment, I'm currently D1 in Korea, 9th best Shaco in Korea. I will be number 1. And yes, I might play on 130 ping, but it doesn't really impact me at all. That's my OPGG. And you can see we're kind of stomping. Some of these players, most of these players I'm playing against will be from Master last split, maybe higher. So I just want to talk about what I think about Shaco in this season. All right, so let me first answer the question about AD Shaco versus AP Shaco. I think by far the best way to play Shaco is AP. I know I've been asked so much recently about this tank Shaco variation, which has been a thing, I think, since last split. Guys, I'm going to be honest, I just have self-respect, and I am a good enough Shaco player to not build tank items. It sounds like so conceited when I say shit like that, but bro, there's no way I'm building tank on my champ, and it is playable when you play AD, and I'll show you how as well. But the most important thing, just please don't think that, I know lots of people like these videos, builds, runes, and all that stuff. Please just understand that how you clear your camps, and how you look at the minimap, and how often you do, and your general mechanics on Shaq, they are way more important, bro, than what you're building. Now, yes, builds do come into it, especially when you reach higher MMRs, kind of maybe like what I'm in right now, so I do have to be precise with what I build and stuff. Like, if they have, you know, 5 more Malmortius and a bunch of magic resist, I probably should build magic pen. If I don't, I'm probably trolling. So that stuff does play a part, but if you're in anything below like challenger, bro, even in GM, it doesn't really matter what you build. How you play Shaco in jungle is way more important. Anyway, okay, so AD Shaco versus AP Shaco. AP Shaco is by far the best way to play Shaq at the moment, like by far. Basically every game it's like Ace MVP, right? And most of them are AP Shaq. AP Shaco is best. Now please be careful of picking AP Shaq if you have an AP top laner, an AP mid laner, and an AP support. So let's just say you have Mordekaiser top, Syndra mid, and you have Leona support. If you go AP Shaq, you are trolling. You are asking to not deal damage in that game unless you get ridiculously fed early game, which can happen, but it's unlikely, right? You're just going to snowball to the point where you have 25 Magi stacks and magic resist doesn't even matter. So if we look at these games real quick, like when I've decided to go AD in this game, this is because I have an AP Ziggs, Yone has a bit of magic damage, and then we have an AP top laner. If I go AP in this game, it is insane into their comp. Not insane, actually, but it's definitely better into this comp AP. But if I go AP here and they just build magic resistance, all I've got is really Yone to deal AD. Like, that's it. So my team's damage mix is really what I think about. I don't necessarily care what the enemy team comp is. And by the way, whenever you're in champ select, please just type, like at the start, AP Shaco, or whatever pick you are, like, because I'm in career, I have to type like 1P, which normally I am, I'm first pick, so I'll type 1P AP. So then they can pick AD champion. So if you look at some of these games, I might have an AD mid, even though I can't actually find a game where I haven't AD mid laner. In fact, I've got AP mids, bro, in every single game here. I'm playing AP look at Zero and stuff. But you can see how even with an AP mid, I can still go AP Shaco and do well, right? One of the big reasons is because we'll have a good attack damage top laner. So I've got Riven here, I've got Warwick, I have Aurelia here. The only game where I've gone AD Shaq is the one where I have an AP top laner. So now let me get into the runes for AD. So we'll talk about AD first. So very standard page, right? So just Halo Blades, sudden impact. Hopefully all this makes sense. There's no Dark Harvest or Let's Shoot with AD. It's kind of trash. Halo Blades is always going to be the best here, even though it doesn't feel that great at the moment. Sudden impact, just because we want damage when we come out of our Q. This because, I don't even know, bro. Like, I just want more sweepers or trinkets, whatever it does. I don't really care about this rune. You're never going to win or lose a game because of this rune. So yeah, I just take this because it sounds okay. Then I take Treasure Hunter here. I don't take Relentless because it doesn't give you a stack on 0 stacks anymore. So, or not a stack, sorry, but it doesn't give you movement speed until you get a stack, which I don't really like. And I feel like I can get in a position without that much movement speed in order to play my champion. Yes, you'll see in a second that I'm not going much movement speed, if any, in my items. So Ghostblade, for instance, or Opportunity. So I do feel it a little bit, like I'm losing a little bit of movement speed, but this champion is all about snowballing, right? And getting extra gold early game allows us to snowball and keep it going and going and going, right? And the only reason I didn't carry this game is literally because of mechanics. And it completely changes the game because everyone on the team is like, you know, 5, 7, 3, 11, 0, 6, 4, 10. I can't die in that game, and I die not because of a build, I die because I didn't press Q. Secondary tree. footwear and approach velocity. You might think approach velocity, you might be like, what about this? I run this every single game. The reason being is because not only is it great when your teammates have CC, even just off a slow right or something like that, when you auto attack someone and you don't have your, or you have your E's, sorry, so your E's off cooldown, when you auto attack someone and your E is off cooldown, you will slow them. Lots of people don't know that. So that means you can stick to them. So you can deal more damage, you can get in your Halo Blades auto attacks, and you can kill them with approach velocity. This rune, I think, is just a must. You have to go this, otherwise you can go Cosmic, and I've gone Cosmic before in the past, but getting more Ignites and Smites and stuff, I don't really think it like changes too much. More Ignites is definitely nice, don't get me wrong, but this is too important. This is all the time. Whenever you're fighting champions early game with red buff, everything, man, this will proc in like every single fight. Footwear, because we want to save 300 gold. And the best thing about these boots is that they give you more movement speed than the base boots of speed. So I actually sit on these until like third, fourth item most of the time. So I have enough movement speed with just this. I don't even have to buy boots. And with Treasure Hunter, it allows me just to buy damage and snowball games. So that's the build, or the runes, sorry, for AD. Let's get into the items for AD Shaco. So I'm just going to go through the items here and what I do. So first item every game is Cyclo Sword. The reason for this is because Ghostblade, yes, it feels nice, right? Like Dirk early game, of course it feels nice, but Cyclo Sword, I feel anyway, is a must. I don't know why Ghostblade feels worse, but it just does. I don't even care if it got buffed or nerfed or whatever. It doesn't change anything for me. It's all about how I feel when I use items and runes and stuff. But this feels unreal. Like the damage you deal coming out of your stealth with a backstab from your Q with Cyclo Sword is legit. Like you will deal half of someone's HP with this if you backstab and you're already snowballing, which you should be, by the way. Don't just think, oh, but what about if you're behind? You should always be ahead or in a position to carry on this champion. If not, then you're playing him wrong. So when you have an early Cyclo Sword, you will shred people. It's way more impactful than Ghostblade. The only thing Ghostblade has is literally just movement speed. That's it. But if you're good at Shaco and you know where to Q from, and you know your Q distances and their range of vision, the enemy champions, and you Q from the right places and from Raptors over to mid lane and all of those spots over walls and stuff, you will be fine. So Cyclo Sword is always first. For second and third items, I go Collector and IE basically every single game, unless the only thing I would change here is if they have a lot of shields. So let's just say they have Lee Sin, Yone, Yuumi. Serpent's Fang is also an option as third item here. But anyway, second and third item, in most games, if not every game, I'm going Collector and or Infinity Edge. Now, the reason I say and or is because there's always these two items as second and third most of the time. It depends how much gold I have on my bases. So let's just say I've got Cyclo Sword and I base on 1,000 gold. What am I going to buy? I'm going to buy Dirk. If I base on 1,300 gold, I'm buying BF Sword. If I base on 900 gold, I'm buying Pickaxe. And Pickaxe builds into both of these, right? So after Pickaxe, if you based on 1,000 gold, you buy Dirk. If you based on 1,300 gold, you buy BF Sword. I still think that Infinity Edge, even though it sounds really weird because this is better with more crit, you kind of want to build IE like after Collector most of the time. But for me, it's all about feel. And I feel as if IE is actually nice as second item and then you build Collector. But again, it depends on the gold. This is not about personal preference. This is dictated by how much gold you have when you base. So 1,000 gold Dirk, 900 gold Pickaxe, or short of 1,000 gold, you get a Pickaxe. If you've got 1,300, just always get BF Sword and build for Infinity Edge. But yeah, either way, it's Collector, IE Collector. And then after that, you literally have just whatever the enemy team is going, right? Shields, you have Serpent's Fang, you can go Edge of Night if you want to, you can go more Malmortius, you can go Ghostblade even, you can go stuff like Bork, Trinity Force. It depends what the enemy team has. You can even potentially go stuff like Essence River. I don't really like this item on Shaco because I don't think the damage is that much, although it is optional. Like, you guys are going to have to test it and feel what's good for you when you play this champion. But there are so many options, right? Guardian's Angel might be an optional, though I've kind of gone off of it because, and I'm not sure if I would like it. To be honest, I kind of trust myself to go in on Shaco and live. I don't need a Guardian Angel to like kind of, you know, save me as compensation. I think, yeah, mechanically, like I'll live anyway. So I kind of stray away from this item. I'd rather have more damage, so more one-shots, and especially later in a game when they start building like, you know, steel caps and stuff like that, I want to get through that. Oh yeah, and obviously Lord Dominic's Regards is probably a must at some point. More to a reminder, you could think about going, especially if you're just jumping on someone who has healings, like an Aphelios maybe, with Red Gun, and he's got like Shield Bow or something. Like, this might even be a must, and with Serpent's Fang, I think it's actually probably good. But you're just trying to build to nuke the enemy carries. That's it. Doesn't matter if they have tanks or anything. You're not going on tanks. You're going on the Syndra with Zhonya's. You're going on the enemy Samira with steel caps. Those are the champions you're trying to kill, so build for them. Don't worry about anyone else. And yeah, that's the AD Shaco build. Oh yeah, and for boots, I think Swifties are great if you can upgrade these because you have Atakan. You can go the upgraded ones. You can also go cooldown boots. So the thing with this build is that you're not going to have much cooldown, right? So let's see what has cooldown here. You literally have one item as part of your core anyway. So Cyclo Sword, Collector, and IE, I think are core. And if you decide to go Essence Reaver, that's the only other item you're going to build that has haste, right? So if you feel, wow, I really want my Q back up, I want more E's or whatever it is, it would really be your Q, right? When you go in, you'd kind of like to have it up in like 6-7 seconds maybe. If that's the case, then you can go Essence Reaver after IE. Might even be really good, but you can also just go Lucids. If you feel as if you don't need it because you're really snowballing, I think Swifties are probably just like generally the best. And yeah, you don't really want to be building any steel caps or magic resist because you're going to die anyway. Like, I don't think they're going to save you unless you could have the upgraded version, so the tier 3 version of those boots. But yeah, so that's the AD Shaco setup. You can go tank Shaco, but yeah, you just have no self-respect. So all right, so let's go to AP runes. Get ready for this page. So I can't remember what his name was, but whoever the EUS Shaco is who does this, like, respect, because this rune page feels unreal most of the time anyway. You are playing AP Shaco at the end of the day, so sometimes it doesn't feel great. But one of the reasons this page feels great is because of this rune, and it's bugged. It's literally the only reason, bro, why this AP Shaco variation feels good right now is because of a bug. So this damage will actually proc on your boxes, and you'll notice when you're clearing camps, you deal more damage to the camps. That's what I found anyway, which is kind of funny. But yeah, Axiom Arcanist feels great on the champ. And even though, yes, you have like AoE on your ultimate, so it deals less damage, but it feels so good, the cooldown and everything, and you'll know what I mean. Just run the rune and you'll feel the power. Comet is here because we have to go sorcery tree here, right? It's too good. Look at this. We've got Transcendence. So because AP Shaco is so good at scaling, Transcendence is a scaling rune. It gives us more haste. Gathering Storm. Later into the game, we go the more powerful we become. And later into a game, you should be unkillable, and you should almost be like one-shotting people with boxes. So yeah, these I think are very standard, and hopefully you understand that. And Comet is just the best here, and also isn't bad. Like, proccing on boxes, even at level 1, you'll deal like 150 damage if they invade you, and it will dissuade them from invading. And yeah, Comet just feels really good. Again, it's about feel, and it does feel really nice. A lot better than Dark Harvest and that rubbish domination tree. Secondary tree Precision. We go haste, because haste is very important on this, and you'll see in the items that I like to go anyway. I like to go damage, so having haste and runes from Transcendence and then the haste legend here is very nice. Again, it feels great. Cut down because when a champion, well, you can kind of, hopefully you can think about why I'd run this instead of like coup de grace. Most of the time, especially later into a game, champions are face checking boxes on full HP. So because they're face checking boxes on full HP, this has so much value, right? I don't really care too much about coup de grace. This is nice with Dark Harvest, for instance. Like, you will one-shot people with your E, but that's about it. Like, most of the time, you're dealing damage to people who have full HP, even with your ultimate if you go in. Like, if you Q in and then press your R and your clone blows up, they're all full HP. So this has way more value than anything else here. This is where there might be some, you might have some, multiple options. Or I could just say options because multiple is redundant when I say that. But anyway, yeah. You can go attack speed. I don't like it. I don't think you need this. You don't need it to clear camps. You don't need it to fist fight the enemy jungler. You're not fist fighting the enemy jungler on Shaco anyway in terms of actually melee, like auto attacking them, right? You're dealing damage through abilities and cooldowns. So if you have damage for your abilities or you have cooldown for your abilities, these are a lot better. I like running this because I'm just a fan of damage on this champion because I have enough haste in this and this. So if I go this, it's like, well, kind of overkill. Give me a bit of damage actually, and you will feel this. All of this kind of adds into, along with mechanics and stuff, me being able to pop off every game, right? And then we just run Adaptive Force, so double adaptive, very standard here, nothing else makes sense. And then we go scaling HP because we want to scale. You can opt for this, by the way. This could be like another option if they do have slows, especially the enemy jungler here. So if you're versing something like, I'm trying to think of a champion with slows, can't really think of one right now, but hopefully that makes sense. If you're versing maybe like an Ashe AD carry and then they have a jungler who does have slows and stuff and maybe a lot of CC, could even be something like a Skarner. This doesn't actually sound too bad. I think this is just bad though, flat HP, because you're scaling, right? Early game, you're not really fist fighting, and yeah, I've never felt as if, wow, I really wanted that HP early game on AP Shaco. This I just think is objectively the best, but then you could also argue there are some games where you might want this. All right, hopefully all that makes sense. Let's go into items for AP Shac. I don't have any item sets, by the way, but if you guys want to do it, then no worries. Is that the right key? It is. Let's go. For this, by the way, forgot to mention AD Shac, take this. AP Shaco, take the red one. Red one is better, again, because you're trying to deal more damage to people face checking boxes. That does it. This allows you to get in position to place boxes down. On Shaco anyway, it's kind of like the movement speed argument I made. You should be good enough to get in positions, great positions to box anyway without the movement speed. It shouldn't be the core reason. And after this, we always want to try get Faded Ashes on our first base, and then we're going to go Blackfire Torch. Now, as far as your boots go, right, because remember, in this room page, we're not taking footwear, so we have to buy our boots. So when do you buy boots? I like getting this as soon as possible. Some games, if you've watched the stream, you will notice that I have like Sorks early game. Sorks are very, very nice in terms of like dealing damage to champions, and you will feel it, but I still think you will feel it more from Blackfire Torch. So even if I just have Blackfire Torch and that's it, I'm fine with that. I'd rather have this full item than like Sorks and Faded Ashes, because this item, Lost Chapter, you don't really care about. Like, it doesn't do that much for your champion. So Faded Ashes early game is very nice. And then we kind of want to get to this as soon as possible. We don't really care about the components of Lost Chapter, Amp Tome, the tote thing. Like, who cares about that? A mana as well. Like, it's not the best item, right? The rest of the item anyway. This is great because it gives you instant like power. Lost Chapter still feels good when you buy it, but remember, there's mana in there, so you're spending gold on a bit of mana, and who cares about that? So there's not many stats in that item or the rest of the item that you care about. So trying to get to this ASAP without worrying about any of that is definitely the best move. Then after that, there are some games where if you can literally just buy Horny Guys. So let's just say you have this, and then you base, and you've got 1,300 gold. I would buy Horny Guys and not even Sorks. Seriously, or like whatever boots you want to go. I think this is the best and optimal way to build AP Shack. So you just accelerate your, everything's going to be quicker. Your clear is going to be quicker. Yes, you're slower around the map, but that shouldn't dictate you winning or losing games. If you're good at jungle and you clear your camps and you leash them to the next one, and you can read a minimap, you don't need movement speed to be everywhere. Sorks, I think after Haunting Guys are definitely good now. So I think with this is easily enough damage and clear speed, etc. to be a massive threat on the map. And then when you add Sork Shoes in, for me anyway, I look at that and I think that is very, very juicy. Now, you might be wondering, why am I going Sork Shoes? Aren't Lucids better? Because of cooldown. You've got cooldown from this. You've got cooldown from Transcendence. You've got cooldown from the Haste Rune in the Precision Tree. That's a lot of cooldown. I think going Lucid Boots would just be superfluous, just overkill. I don't think you need that much cooldown. There is an argument to say, right, if you've got a very fed team, like your teammates are doing really well, you could always just say, well, I don't need the damage here. Like my mid lane Aurora is 10-0 worth 500 gold bounty. She's really fed. And you might say, well, I just kind of want to support her with boxes and throw as many boxes down as possible and E people who jump onto her and E another one who jumps onto her, and you're going to like peel and play support Shaco. You could even, argue that Mandate afterwards is good. Obviously, you're upgrading this, right? So we're going Leandries afterwards. I'm just saying that if you wanted to play this variation, instead of the Sork Shoes, you would go Lucids into something like maybe Mandate or something like that, right? Maybe Morello's is good as well. So you're kind of playing like a support variation of Shack. But in these games, you can see how I'm going Sorks like every single game. There might be a Lucids one here, just because that was the gold I had and there was a big fight and I have to get that. That's kind of important as well, by the way. If you're running out of base and you just have enough gold for Lucids, so let's just say I had Boots of Speed and I'm running out of base with 650 gold and I don't really want to buy an Amp Tome or anything like that, I'll probably just get this for that fight, and then later in a game, you can always change them to Sorks. So this would be my build anyway. So Horny Guys into Sork Shoes, and then you finish Leandries. And then after this, it really depends, again, just like the AD, so I think this is core. It really depends on what the enemy team has. So let me try to space this out a little bit. I think Zhonya's is insane, by the way. So I think large rods later in a game become really valuable for AB Shack. When you're buying like codexes late game, they don't really feel that great, to be honest. Like 850 gold when people are buying BF swords and other stuff, it kind of pales in comparison to those items. But if you're buying large rods, which give you 65 AP, which is just insane, these feel great. And these build into, we will see here, these 5 items. Lichbane, don't go this. Banshees is okay. I don't really mind this, but I don't think I've built it that much recently because I think Zhonya's is always going to be better. The only champion you have to worry about when you're going Zhonya's is Caitlyn. There might be a couple more, but Caitlyn's really the annoying one, right? Because she just traps where you're in stasis and you die anyway. So I probably wouldn't build this against Kate. And if you do, you just have to be aware of where Kate is. Like, that's the most important thing there. For example, they could have Caitlyn and like 4 engaged champions. So they could have like an Alistar, they could have Zed who's short range, right? They could have a Xin Zhao, and they could have like, I don't know, Wukong top, something like that. So Zhonya's there would actually probably be justified, but please remember the Caitlyn thing. You can also go Deathcap if you're really snowballing. You can go Shadow Flame. I would probably want to go Deathcap just because you deal more damage. Shadow Flame is still really nice though if they have magic resistance. So that's very important. But you can also go Crypto Bloom as well. The only thing with Crypto, like I was saying before, is that the components aren't as good. So this will feel okay, and It probably is a must if they have magic resistance, by the way, but also you have Shadow Flame as an option, and it builds out a large rod, and also this. Like, these two items are just much better than whatever you're going to buy here, right? You're going to feel it with your boxes and your Eagz and stuff, and when you pair this with Sork Shoes, the magic pen, you are going to one-shot people. This might be cheaper as well, but I feel like it's, you know, you're spending some of the gold on the passive where, you know, it like heals champions. Don't know if I like it that much. Again, I just want to deal damage and one-shot people with boxes. I think it's way more impactful, especially in solo queue. Even if I was playing in Challenger, I'd say the same thing. Of course, you can opt for stuff like Morello's if they have lots of anti-heal, but most of the time your teammates will build this. And as AP Shaq anyway, this variation that I like to play, this iteration of him, I like to deal damage. So if I'm dealing a lot of damage, I'm probably going to one-shot someone anyway. Like, my healing isn't really going to change anything because I want to one-shot someone and that's it. If they have a lot of healing like Yumi and none of my teammates have anti-heal, I'm probably just going to go, you know, Oblivion Orb, and then I'll build that into Morello's. Maybe I'll sit on it, so I'll just get this and then I'll buy one of these items. But yeah, damage is king, believe it or not. Other options you have for AP, let me just have a look because I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. But yeah, Death Cap is on your Shadow Flame. Again, you get what you pay for, right? So if you're spending a lot of gold, you are going to deal a lot of damage here. Cosmic Drive is an option, and I have ran this, and it does feel good. But again, do I need 350 health? And is it worth me spending some of this 3,000 gold on the HP I'm getting? I don't think it is. I don't think you need HP to survive on this champion, and guess what? You have some HP from Leandrews. Do you really need another 350 HP? If you're good at Shaco, you don't. So I don't really like this item. I was actually going it quite a lot as third item, so I'd go this as my core, and then I'd build Cosmic. I don't really like it too much. It doesn't feel that good, and again, it feels a little bit underwhelming when they run into like two boxes and they're 50 HP instead of being like 1 HP. Void Staff is an option, but I still think Shadow Flame is best here. I would only go this if they have a ridiculous amount of magic resistance. So again, if you build like Shadow Flame and then, you know, you're waiting for your 6th item or your full build, it's like 40 minutes, and you're like, oh my god, the AD carry's got a Moor and the mid laner's got Banshees and god knows what else, then you can just sell that and buy this. Other options? I don't really think you like have that many. This feels actually pretty good, so you could always opt for this, but I still think like Shadow Flame is going to be better. And Mandate, Horizon Focus, again, Malignance, you've already got like mana. Again, just remember you're spending gold here on 600 mana when you already have mana from this. And you're going to have blue buffs. You're never going to go in a game. So again, I think that's just over the top and overkill and just pointless. Changes I'd like to see just quickly, by the way, I just want any sort of damage in his passive and Q. Like, just give me any backstab damage, any crit, anything like that, so I can actually build crit. And the other change that I really hated they did was when they nerfed or they just got rid of the Q cooldown refund. So if you backstabbed out of your Q, you would get some of the cooldown back because it rewards you instead of just queuing around the map all the time, right? It's going to reward you for backstabbing someone. And I really liked it. It gave back like 2.5 seconds for your Q's cooldown, and it encourages crit. So if you're going to go crit on Shaq, which I think is by far the most fun way to play this champion, if you go crit, it gives you a little bit back, right? And encourage you to go that build. So I don't know why they got rid of that, but they did. So I'd love to see that reverted, that change, and also just any sort of damage in his passive or Q. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Obviously, check out my stream. I'm streaming a lot at the moment and probably will be streaming when you're watching this video. So thank you for all the recent followers and stuff. Thank you for all the support on the YouTube videos, of course. Again, this feels very raw doing this. I haven't done one of these videos in like years. But anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully you have a good day, night, wherever you are in the world. And yeah, don't be shit, bye.